The vision behind the organization was always about reciprocity and conservation through cultivation when possible, and just looking at these deeper relationships with plants.
Hello and welcome to the Herbs with Rosalee podcast, a show exploring how herbs heal as medicine, as food, and through nature connection. I'm your host, Rosalee de la Forêt. I created this YouTube channel to share trusted herbal wisdom so that you can get the best results when relying on herbs for your health. I love offering up practical knowledge to help you dive deeper into the world of medicinal plants and seasonal living. Each episode of the Herbs with Rosalee podcast is shared on YouTube as well as your favorite podcast app. Transcripts and recipes for each episode can be found at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com or through the link in the video description. Also in the video description, you'll find other helpful resources. For example, to get my best herbal tips, as well as fun bonuses, be sure to sign up for my weekly herbal newsletter. Okay, grab your cup of tea and let's dive in. I'm a huge fan of the work done through United Plant Savers, and so it was truly an honor to have the executive director of UPS on the show. This conversation went places I didn't expect, including the Eclectics, the Lloyd Library, and a sneak peek at next year's International Herb Symposium. I hope to see you there. We also talked about important at-risk plants like white sage and echinacea, and Susan addresses whether or not UPS is the plant police. Spoiler, they aren't. For those of you who don't already know her, Susan Leopold is an ethnobotanist and conservation ecologist known for her work in the fields of plant conservation, sustainable agriculture, and ethnobotany. She is the executive director of the United Plant Savers, a nonprofit organization dedicated to protecting native medicinal plants and fungi in their habitat. Susan is an advocate for ethical wildcrafting practices, community-based conservation initiatives, and the preservation of traditional plant knowledge. Welcome to the podcast, Susan.
Hi.
So excited to have you here. As you know, I love United Plant Savers, and I'm excited to talk all about it, to look at some misconceptions of UPS, to talk about our beloved plants. And before we get there, I would love to hear more about you and how you found yourself as the executive director of UPS, and just all your background in ethnobotany and all that led you here to us today, Susan.
Yeah, thanks. I'm so happy to be here. I've been the executive director of United Plant Savers for 14 years, almost going on 15. So wow. The organization turns 30 this year, which
Woo-hoo!
Is pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
And I'm the third director, and almost have been the director for the half-life.
Yeah.
But I've always been into plants, and I really got into plants because I was really sickly kid, asthma, and always, several cases of pneumonia in the hospital. And so I think my biggest plant allies were like discovering ginger and garlic. I wanted an alternative to antibiotics. I wanted to be able to prevent myself from getting sick when I knew I was getting sick. I wanted relief when I was sick that I couldn't find in, pharmaceutical medications. And though I'm grateful for all of medicine and its forms. So that kind of got me, I think. Also just growing up with beautiful plants in my backyard, and a forest and a pond and a garden. And so I just feel like, as far as I can remember, I just felt really connected to plants. I started off as a geography major at Boston University and discovered Costa Rica, and transferred from Boston University to Friends World College and did my undergraduate in Costa Rica in tropical ethnobotany. And I lived in Peru for a year in the Peruvian Amazon, and I studied with the Bribri in the Talamanca Mountains. And I came back to the States and did my master's at the Conway School in landscape design and environmental planning. And I worked for Virginia Outdoors Foundation, and did a lot of land conservation work, and decided to go back and get my PhD in ethnobotany, and studied the plant knowledge within the Bull Run Mountains, which is a small mountain range in Virginia. And at that time I got married, had kids, and worked for a decade cataloging Mrs. Mellon's rare book library, the Oak Spring Garden Library, and focused on her rare herbals. And I actually studied with Jim Duke and Stephen Foster, did their 2-week ethnobotany class in Maine. And I knew about the organization really through Kat Meyer when UPS was founded, and that's how I got introduced to rosemary. We actually held a fundraiser on my farm in Virginia for UPS the second or third year that it was started. And then I kind of just fell out of the loop a little bit. But when they were looking for a director, I just had multiple people really pushing me to consider applying. And yeah, so that's like a real quick and dirty. I didn't really come to the organization from an herbalist perspective, though I, certainly, am somebody that, uses herbs in my life and grows herbs on my farm. I really came at it from a conservation perspective, and as an ethnobotanist, really looking at those complexities between people and plants. I think, the organization is just, there's nothing else really like it out there. It's an organization that's, most conservation groups, the Native Plant Society, they're all great organizations, but it's really, nobody wants to touch talking about the relationship that people have with plants because it's just too complicated. So it's just easier to say, like, take photographs and don't touch the plants. But really, like, our whole human history is based on an intricate relationship with the plant world. It's just complicated, and it's, from a conservation perspective, it's just it's like Pandora's box. But the vision behind the organization was always about reciprocity and conservation through cultivation when possible, and just looking at these deeper relationships with plants. So yeah.
Well, before we go any further, you piqued my interest in something that you said, that you were cataloging Mrs. Mullen's rare books.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. Will you tell me what that is?
Yeah, you can. I mean, Mrs. Mellon lived to, I think, 103 or 104. I worked with her like in the last decade of her life. But yeah, Mrs. Paul Mellon, and you can find out more at the Oak Spring Garden Library. It's online. It's a nonprofit organization. They do different types of fellowships. It's a research library now. But it was her personal collection, and she was a real plant person, and she collected horticultural and gardening books ever since she was a young child, and amassed a really remarkable collection. And there's 4 books that are like catalog books of her collection, a book about books, I guess. And there's the Oak Spring Flora Silva book on books about trees, Pomona books about fruit trees, Silva, and then Flora, and then the Herbaria. So the book that I worked on mostly was the book on rare herbals. So it's a really wonderful book, an Oak Spring Herbaria. And really the catalog wasn't like the complete collection of all the books that she had. I mean, I photographed and cataloged, hundreds and hundreds of books. And then we selected from that array of books of which to write about in the Oak Spring Herbaria. So it's a wonderful book to learn about, like what is the history of herbals. And I think it's very important to note that, like, to study medicine was to study plants, and the two of them were like completely intertwined. So when you look at these, ancient herbals, going back to the 1500s, or, even going back to like the 1400s, I mean, these books were a catalog of plants that were medicinals. And to study botany was to study medicine. And, you know, we've somehow, like, in a very short amount of time, have completely lost that. So it's, you know, it's a fascinating topic that I think should be talked more about in the realm of herbalism. I feel like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but I feel like a lot of what's out there in books and in podcasts.
Sure, give it to me. Yeah, let's hear it. Share your opinion.
It's a lot of regurgitation of information, but it doesn't go very deep. And I think it's important to have that context, and that's one reason why. This is just an idea. Don't hold me to it, but I really want the next IHS to be really focused on the eclectics and the history of American herbalism, because it's such an incredible history, and there's so much to learn and be inspired by from the school of the eclectic medicines. And I feel like we've forgotten a lot of that, and I feel like there's so many nuggets that can really guide us to a more equitable understanding of herbal medicine, and how we can, you know, really, you know, kind of embrace that history and tradition, and then understand why the eclectics disappeared, which I think will help guide us as we chart this new pathway forward, and ensure that there's health freedom, and ensure that we have the access to practice herbal medicine, and that the eclectics too were conservationists at their core. And in the 1800s, at the peak of the eclectic herbalism, I mean, deforestation was happening at a really rapid rate. I mean, we see the deforestation today, like, and it's pretty intense, the land use changes, but they were seeing trees that were, you know, we can't even imagine what they looked like. They were so big, being cut down. And so they were deeply driven from a conservation perspective. And of course, they were the first to let women and African American and, you know, and Native American people study medicine in their schools. So I think anyway, so I could talk about it forever, but.
let's, I know we weren't necessarily planning on this, but let's just talk about it a little bit since we opened up this can. Because I think that there might be somebody out there thinking, who are the eclectics, which I know is a big, you know, question, but just really briefly, you know, for someone who's just like, I don't know what this is about, why is this important? Who are the eclectics?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to unpack, but certainly the eclectics were just that. They were, you know, kind of certainly embraced the use of herbal medicine and several other practices, but the eclectics, I think, were really born out of kind of this archaic use of medicine that involved, you know, bloodletting and, you know, toxic treatments. The whole understanding of the body and what kind of medicine was being practiced was just really barbaric. And so I think that in itself is a reason why kind of the eclectics came into form. But there were, you know, at one time, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 schools of eclectic medicine all up and down the East Coast. And it was, you know, it was a thriving school of medicine. And they were really, I think it was just a different way of an approach to medicine. They were very much case study based. And, you know, there were these journals that really, that doctors, you know, shared, you know, valuable case studies trying to navigate treating the illnesses that were that they were challenged with in that time period. And there's, you know, all kinds of philosophical spin-offs within the realm of the eclectics, but they were really challenged, I guess, in part with the Flexner Report and a few other political things that happened. And the allopathic doctors and schools of medicine kind of won the war. And in a very quick and rapid way, the eclectic schools of medicine closed down. And John Uri Lloyd and his two brothers were kind of pillars of the eclectic movement, and they knew that they had the foresight to know that what they were doing was valuable and that there would be a renaissance one day. And they established the Lloyd Library with an endowment, and it's based in Cincinnati. And it's such a, if you don't know about the Lloyd Library in Cincinnati, it's kind of a pinnacle of the eclectics, and a lot of the journals and rare books that the Lloyd brothers put together, and other, important contributors to the School of Eclectic Medicine. All that information is there. And there's, other little spin-offs as well. But I think we're on the cusp of that resurgence and reawakening, and also kind of remembering of the eclectic school of medicine. And certainly a lot of herbalists, are aware of the eclectics, and draw on that wisdom. And John Uri Lord was also a pharmacist, and so he patented ways of extracting medicine, and had his own line of medicine, specific medicines. And so it's definitely, I think, had an impact on some of the herbalists today, and some of the formulas and herbal companies that rely on that body of knowledge in American herbalism. Did I do okay?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, so just to recap, there was the Eclectics were this thriving medical body. They had accredited colleges, many colleges, and then big money and politics came in. And big foundations, I think Carnegie was involved, all those big names came in at the early 1900s and very quickly shut them all down, just as a suppressive act. And it's a really big part of the history of herbal medicine in this country. And there's a book called, I believe it's called The Green Pharmacy, which has some historical information in that. And then my friend Cammie McBride has a great article looking at the Flexner report.
She just published
it.
Yeah,
so that's a good one, looking what is the Flexner report and how did that impact herbalism today? So we'll put a link to those in the show notes for folks.
Yeah.
So it is important for us to know this. And I think you were kind of alluding to this, Susan, that we have a lot to learn from that, because as this herbal resurgence happens, I think there's very much a risk that we could be shut down again. So I think it's important that we learn from the past, and that we don't want to keep going through this cycle of being repressed and coming back again, right? We want to continue thriving. And one way that we continue to thrive is by having our plant medicines thrive too, because we don't thrive without the plants. And so with that, let's talk a little bit about United Plant Savers. Maybe we could just start, you mentioned it's 30 years old. How did it come into being, United Plant Savers?
Yeah, I mean, Rosemary had started the International Herb Symposium, and when people gathered, she kind of posed the question, are people concerned with what's going on? I mean, as Rosemary tells the story, I mean, she was a California herbalist using a lot of plants from the East Coast, and then when she moved east to be with the plants, she realized that they weren't as abundant as she had assumed or had thought they were. So yeah, all kinds of people got together and started having this discussion. Herbalists, growers, wildcrafters, herb companies. So it was a real mix of stakeholders involved in the herbal industry that formed UPS. And one of the first things they did was just to get together and talk about putting together an at-risk list. And that's what the Planting the Future book is, that came out of those early days as well. Is it's people who started the organization kind of each wrote a chapter on a plant that meant something to them. So Planting the Future is just a book about the original at-risk plants and those stories, the chapters that go with that book. And then Kelly Kitchard came on the board, an ethnobotanist from the University of Kansas, and he helped us devise the at-risk tool, which is a tool that anybody can use, and it just really gets you thinking about the plant. And then the higher the score, the higher at risk the plant is. And he based that tool off of a similar tool that was developed by the fisheries, because you know you can't go out and count all the fish. You can't go out and count every plant. So it's just a very logical and easy tool to use, and it asks questions like how how does a plant reproduce in the wild? How long does it take for that plant before it becomes sexually capable of reproducing? And then and you know, some plants it might be a year, some plants it might be 7 years or 15 years, right? And then also, like, what part of the plant are you using? Like, are you using the leaf? Are you using the root? You know, when you harvest that plant, are you then diminishing its ability to reproduce in the wild? And then how abundant is that plant? And then also looking at how in demand is that plant? So these are just like basic questions that you can ask yourself about any plant that you're considering using or formulating. So it just kind of brings that awareness. And I think we anyway, so that's how the organization got founded, and that's been the core of the work, is the at-risk list. And then of course, you know, we're membership based. So that's, you know, a lot of what we do is, you know, outreach to our membership, and all the information we put on our website, which is all free and available to anybody. And then we do the journal. We try and do, we offer roots in the fall to plant, and we offer seeds in the spring. And then the biggest, I think, the most inspiring part of the work is the Botanical Sanctuary Network. So we have our sanctuary in Ohio, but anybody can be a part of the sanctuary network. And there's, I think we're over like 250 registered sanctuaries throughout the United States. And there's no, you know, anybody can, it's just being passionate about, you know, dedicating your land or a community garden or an urban space, or, so yeah. So it's fun to read what sanctuaries are in your state. There's an interactive map on the website. And
all right, well, you've just covered a lot. So let's circle back to some things. So let's go back to the at-risk list, which you are, we'll put that in the show notes so people can access this list of looking at what plants are at risk. Like you said, Susan, kind of a tiered level of things that are really at risk versus things that you're looking at and paying attention to. One thing that I have heard sometimes people say in the past is they get kind of like a little curmudgeon-y maybe, and they say like, who is United Plant Savers to tell us which plants we can and can't use? That's kind of this idea that you're this like big corporation who's, you know, dictating what plants people can use or what people can't use. So what would you say to that?
I think we're not telling people what someone does on a personal level is completely between them and like the plant. You know, what we're really trying to do is guide people in making better decisions, and certainly companies that are harvesting for commercial purposes. And we're trying to help consumers by providing them with knowledge about, you know, who wants to consume something if it's really rare and endangered. So the list is really just information, and it's you know, some plants, you know, I've you know, and you can read on the website, we've got, you know, like more very clear statements on the list. But what we're really hoping to do is encourage cultivation of these plants and research into the conservation of these plants when possible. And in some cases, you know, we don't know how to cultivate these plants. So it's even more so that we be really mindful about how these plants are harvested and stewarded in the wild. So absolutely, we're not trying to be the plant police. But what we do hope is that we're like a source of information and awareness so that people can make better decisions. And, And then, we've got a great list of analogs, plants. I mean, because the reality is that plants are so abundant in many cases, right? Like, I mean, we so I think, often you may find like, oh, I think I want to use this plant. I think Howie has a good thing about talking about like plant list. I think it's, important to think about what plants are really abundant that, can serve the same purpose, and what plants can be cultivated. And, often there's really good alternatives. And so that's important to be aware of. I mean, humans have been cultivating medicinal herbs for thousands of years. That's why we have all the types of rosemary and thyme and oregano, and the sages, and the history of human use of tobacco, and all these different things. So it's I think it's important to really think about sustainability in that regard, and really drill down on why you're using a specific plant, and if there's a better alternative. And so it's really just about, I think, asking more questions.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think of like one way I've used this list as an example is that there's a very popular coffee alternative company out there. I won't name their name, but they were all over, my advertising that happens online, and one of their alternative coffees is a chaga blend. And so I contacted them with concerns about sustainability around chaga, and their first response to me was, chaga is abundant and there's no problem harvesting it, and we don't need to pay attention to it. And so I was able to show that it was in review and it's something that needs to be looked at closely, and asked how they were looking at populations and how they were making sure that they were making a positive impact, et cetera. To which I got no response. So for me, that was a decision I made of like, I'm not going to buy their coffee
Right.
substitute, like kind of you were saying, like it was just like consumer awareness in that realm. And so, um, it's a good list to look at if you're relying on those medicinals, to be able to go to the company and say, where does this come from? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I looked at the other day. I was researching berberine extracts, so not whole plant things, but it was extracts, and it was interesting. Like there was one extract that was um, that specifically said that it was extracted from golden seal, but they had no sustainability report on their golden seal, whereas another extract was extracted from barberry, which is not at risk. So it was, it's like just being able to make those choices of like where we want to, what do we
Yeah.
want to support as people who are even just buying herbs. So the list is so helpful on many different levels. For
Yeah.
me, as someone, I teach to a global audience. And so for me, it's important to know what's on that list, because let's say arnica, it grows so abundantly in my area.
Yeah.
And so I might have this perception that arnica is not at risk and that it's very abundant. It is on the review section,
Yeah.
but now that's in my consciousness, so that when I'm teaching globally, I can tell people you need to be aware of the arnica populations, and it's not something that I'm going to promote as like heavily or recommend massive harvest the way I would that like I say someone goes to their lawn and picks dandelion, right? It's just a
Because I mean, the Appalachian region especially is like a hot spot of medicinal plant diversity, and these plants are valued all over the world.
Mhm.
And maybe someone in New Zealand doesn't know that golden seal is threatened,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, um, anyways, it is important, because we live in this like really interconnected global economy. I mean, something that I would love for UPS to be able to do is help other countries and other regions create their own at-risk list.
Mm.
And so we've got a project going on in Jamaica I'm really excited about. There'll be a big article in the journal this year, but we're helping the country of Jamaica come up with its own at-risk list of medicinal plants, because a lot of the medicines that they use come from the forest, and they're also barks and roots from wild populations, and a lot of those things are really critical to their jerk and their seasonings that are popular in the food industry, but also for their tonic drinks. And so I love the idea that we can be this sort of like holistic model that is very like grassroots and is kind of easy for maybe other regions to kind of model if it works for them. So we're really excited to kind of pilot this kind of project in Jamaica, and then it's just bringing awareness so that people are thinking about how they can cultivate these plants to ensure that they're here for future generations. I don't think that I think it's tricky because it's easy to point the finger at like companies or people using herbal medicine or wild harvesters, but that's not. I mean, it's part of the problem, but the bigger problem is really that we're just experiencing such a dramatic loss of habitat to development, and that's what's making these systems so fragile. So if people who are using these plants get to know and understand and can be a part of like ensuring that these plants are here in the future, it's like that's my saying is herbalism is the gateway drug to activism, because I think when we learn about these plants, then we're just kind of drawn to engage with them. Whatever that looks like, whether that's growing an herb garden in your backyard, whether that's like being involved in removing invasives from a local preserve that's near your home, whether that's going out and seeing, what trilliums come up in the spring in your neighborhood. It's just like a light switch that gets kind of turned on, and then you see the world differently. So it's not about shaming or making people feel bad. That's not really a part of our message. Our message is more like, how can we build better relationships with these plants? Like we're not sort of like the, do not touch this kind of organization. We're more like, how can we get more intimate with these plants? And so
it really shines through everything you do. Like you mentioned your botanical sanctuary network. So that's a
yeah,
beautiful thing, which again, you can look at, where those are in your state. I get golden seal roots often in the fall and am tending my little patch.
yeah.
And so that's, I mean, you're like directly encouraging this, interactions with the plants and the cultivation of them, the enjoyment of them. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
hmm Yeah. And we do lots of educational workshops. Um, and we have lots of free videos on how to grow these plants. And um, so it's just really good to get on our mailing list and then just be up to date, with what we're doing. We try to do a little bit of everything, online classes, hands-on classes at the sanctuary, the journal, even it goes out in the mail to members, but it's on the website for anybody to download and read. We really want to we really don't want there to be any barriers to the information that we're trying to share with people. So becoming a member is just really, supporting the organization.
So I'm of the firm opinion that everybody who loves plants should be a member of UPS if at all possible. I want to say it's $35 a year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you do get access to all of these wonderful things that Susan's already been talking about. I have been a member myself for I don't know how many years. Um, my program, Rooted Medicine Circle, that I co-teach with Emily Hahn, we offer that as a part of the perks of being a part of that is that we do a program that United Plant Savers does, the Partners in Education. So all of the
Yep.
students get a complimentary a membership for a year. So if you're listening and you have an herb school, you might want to check in their partners in education, because that's a great way to support the
Yeah.
organization as well. So much of the artwork in my home comes from
Yeah.
United Plant Savers through like various fundraisers, and I have some really beautiful watercolor artwork from that.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, because we have this amazing deep ecology artist in residence program,
Hmm.
and so you can apply, and we now have the Brick House Apothecary in Pomeroy, so now we can take more people at one time. But if you apply and you're accepted, it's a 2-week program, and then a lot of people who do artwork will donate copies of the artwork, and then we often we'll sell that artwork as our kind of end of the year fundraiser. And so yeah, it's just it's a great way for us to kind of share about what we're doing. And I think, that's great to hear. But yeah, people love the artwork.
Yeah, I
So
have
I
him
think that's
framed and everything. Yeah, it's like the artwork at my house. Absolutely. And I know this is the 30th year for United Plant Savers, and you are doing a big push for membership to get up to 10,000 members. Is that correct?
yeah, I don't know if it's a large lead. We kind of hover around like 5,000, 6,000. So I don't know. I mean,
I believe
I'm
in it.
not
Let's
giving.
do it. Let's do it.
It seems like low hanging fruit, right? Like, could we get 10,000 members? I mean, we have like 60,000 people on our mailing list. We probably have 80,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram, or maybe even more, 100,000. But yeah, so it seems like we could convert, like a small percentage of them to take the plunge. Another cool thing about our membership is that we are members of the American Horticultural Society's reciprocal garden program. So by becoming a member of UPS, you get a member card, and you can use that card to get into, like, I don't know, 300 or 400 gardens around the country.
Oh, wow.
So it definitely comes back to you tenfold, because all the business members give discounts to our members, and so you get all those discounts. I mean, it really yeah, so it definitely comes back to you in multiple ways, if you're out there going to the gardens, or shopping from any of the companies that support UPS. Um and for me, I mean, it's a ton of work, but I love putting the journal together every year. We always get such really unique articles, and then people who have their botanical sanctuary share their stories, and then we highlight the art from the artists in residence. I just think it's like a kind of a feel good, inspirational journal to kind of like soak it in little by little. And so but yeah, so yeah, we really going for it.
Yeah, I love it. And I think there are probably so many people who are listening who love plants, who love the mission of United Plant Savers, and just need the little nudge in that
Yeah,
direction to make it happen. So I would love to hear from all of you who sign up for United Plant Savers membership. Like, just let me know, and
yeah,
we can all celebrate together. You can write it in the comments. But yeah, what an amazing organization to support, and just a way to you mentioned this word earlier, reciprocity, just to engage in reciprocity with the plants. And this is an organization that's out there for us on the front lines doing that, and educational in a major way.
yeah, yeah. Kind of stretch your plant knowledge. So yeah, become a member. And we love having visitors to the sanctuary. And we have the center, which has like a little museum and kitchen and teaching area. And then, we allow camping, and we've got 5 miles worth of trails. And then we have the Brick House Apothecary in Pomeroy as well. So, and probably something that we haven't touched on is, that Jim Duke left his library to United Plant Savers. So, and then we've received other libraries. So we're really building this incredible library for people to come and do research about medicinal plants as well. So that's another little nugget.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. So United Plant Savers, everyone should join. I wanted to just mention IHS, which is a fundraiser for United Plant Savers. It happened last year. Do you know when it's going to happen again? Is it
Well, it's, it's every other year, so
Yeah.
I haven't made an official announcement, and we'll see. I mean, it's, a lot to kind of pull together, but I'm working on um, announcing a date for June 2025 in Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati. Whoa, that's unexpected. Okay, everyone, you heard it here first. This is breaking news. I had no idea. It's funny, when you were talking about the Lloyd Library, I was like, I have never been to that. I need to go to that. When am I ever going to go to Cincinnati? Now I know.
Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, I didn't go last time to IHS, and I just thought that was a responsible decision because it's across the country for me and everything. Oh man, I had major FOMO.
uh,
Like everybody goes. It's the coolest event. There's so many people. Yeah, so I really regretted not going last time. So, oh, well, that's very exciting.
yeah, and I love the video series that you filmed.
Oh, yeah, the Wild Remedies documentary series. Yeah, that was a wonderful, fun thing that we did at the last IHS that I went to, which is several years ago.
Yeah,
Oh, so well, what I was also thinking, I'm just going to put out my wish list here, Susan, since we're breaking news. I would like to get a tour of the Lloyd Library who's by somebody who knows their stuff. So
yeah,
you could just arrange that too.
yeah,
Like Lloyd Library by David Winston. I'm just
yeah,
dreaming here.
yeah, yeah. No, it's really taking form. I think the time is ripe.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati's a fun city. It's easy to fly in and out of. So yeah, so that's in the works, and probably a big announcement will come in a month or so,
Okay.
hopefully.
Cool.
Just
So how far is UPS from Cincinnati?
We're about 2 hours,
Okay.
2
So
hours west. I
okay,
mean, 2 hours east, 2 hours east.
I see.
So certainly people could do a visit to UPS too, and we certainly hope to kind of make the Lloyd Library a part of it. Um, and yeah, there's just so much herbal history there.
Yeah.
I think it could be really cool and something different. And maybe we'll go back to Wheaton in the future, you
Mhm.
know. But I just really felt like shaking it up a little bit.
Wow, that's very exciting. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I'm very excited. Well, you have shared just a wonderful bits of wisdom I wasn't expecting. We got to hear about the Eclectics. We got to hear about the Lloyd Library. We have breaking news on the next IHS. Um, what haven't we covered that we should talk about before we go, Susan?
I don't know. We mentioned talking about white sage, but I don't know if that's like a big.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's talk about white sage. In some ways, I think that white sage is, I could also say this of echinacea, but somewhat like poster herbs of, what it means to be at risk and what it means to be conservative and, what it means to be intentional in relationship with these plants and how important it is.
Yeah. I really encourage you can. There's a link on our website and on the California Native Plant Society's YouTube channel is Saging the World, and it's a 15-minute film.
It's very good.
And I really encourage people to watch that film. It gives a good overview. I think there's just been a rapid increase in the demand for white sage that's been problematic, and that's really highlighted in the film. White sage can be easily grown, but the majority of it is being wild harvested and over harvested in certain areas of California and Mexico.
Mm.
So I think it's one that people really need to be aware of and be very conscious about where you might be buying your white sage from. And something that we're really trying to do is encourage people to grow it. We sell white sage seeds on our website,
Mm.
and it's a very easy plant to germinate and grow. So that's kind of my little spiel. I apologize for the background. Hope it's not too bad on your
We're
end.
just, we're just focusing on your voice, Susan. It'll be fine. Um, yeah. So again, it's not like UPS is saying don't use sage, but it's saying let's be intentional about it. Let's grow it. Maybe let's find, if you do buy it, let's find out where it comes from. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then I've seen the 15-minute film that you mentioned. It's a great film. 15
Yeah.
minutes, very worth watching. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very sacred plant to the indigenous tribes that use white sage medicinally and spiritually. And there's just no rules or regulations. One reason I got really involved was because there were several big arrests in the Etowanda Preserve in Northern California, kind of in between LA and Palm Springs. And I went there to do a lot of research and worked on several articles that I wrote, and then I worked on with other people who wrote articles, and then got very involved with the different tribes and the California Native Plant Society. And then that movie came about sort of during COVID, which I think really encapsulates sort of the different elements of it. But there's quite a bit to be done because it's just completely unregulated, and there's just little enforcement that can take place.
And sometimes these harvests, they don't just damage the white sage population, which is horrible enough, but they're damaging whole ecosystems. In addition to that, and I just doubt that there's very few people who are listening to this podcast who would want to support that. Who would want to support the decimation of a sacred plant, who want to support the decimation of these ecosystems. But when we buy things at the store, it's just invisible to us. It's
Right.
we don't know what we're supporting.
Right. Yeah.
Which is all about United Plant Savers. It's just, let's be aware of it. Let's be intentional.
Yeah. And, it's like white sage is being sold at all these places where they're like promoting healing, right? But nobody's questioning where this white sage is coming from. And I mean, it is, an incredibly beautiful fragrance, and you can see why people are so like drawn to it. And because it's so easy to grow, that's just something that we're just trying to bring awareness that if you really want to use white sage, there's no reason why you can't grow it in a pot, and, it can get, 6 to 8 inches, and you can harvest the individual leaf. You don't need these bundles, and then you can burn like just a
I like
leaf
the
at
leaves
a time.
better than I grow it myself in a little pot, and I like the leaves better than the big bundles myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I think it's an important one because it's something we can bring awareness to, and it's something everybody can do something, So I do hope that we can, kind of shift what's happening with white sage.
Yeah. I'm curious, Susan, about Echinacea, because I know that we probably have a long ways to go in terms of restoring Echinacea to its native habitats. And I'm sure the loss of habitat is still playing a big role in Echinacea's health in the ecosystem. In some ways, I want to think of it as a success story in that I find that it's very easy to find cultivated Echinacea. Like there's just no reason to buy wild harvested. And it's also one that is such a joy to have in the garden. It's so easy to have in the garden. And so it's very easy to do yourself. So yeah, so I do agree with that in terms of like there's some success story there in terms of like we can still rely a lot on this plant but we can cultivate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think cultivating your own Echinacea is a really awesome thing to do. And it can, grow in in most places in the United States. So I do see it as a success story. It was, I think, Echinacea tennesseeensis that was on the endangered species list, and a lot of different organizations, worked to kind of restore areas to bring it off the endangered species list. So I do think in some sense, there are some good news stories out there, but it's also really tricky because the prairie habitat is like one of the most so much of the prairie has been destroyed, and very, very, it's like probably less than 1% of prairies, have been protected. So that's, because it's, there's, obviously like so many different species of Echinacea. And so I think it's, and I think, it's still one that, is just amazing to learn about. And Kelly Kitchard, the ethnobotanist from University of Kansas, wrote an incredible book just specifically on Echinacea. But I think when you drill down, you realize like there's just so much diversity. in everything that we, like, so that, it's important to still think about how we can protect prairie habitat and do prairie restoration work as a part of that, conservation story. But I do feel like it's really easy to find echinacea and to be able to grow that plant and to be able to source it. And I think most companies out there are sourcing from cultivated echinacea versus echinacea that's being collected out of the wild. And some of the research shows that when you do dig up echinacea out of the wild, its roots break and then it forms new plants.
Oh, really?
So it's not, the wild harvesting isn't as maybe as destructive as we might think, but again, it's that we just have such little
habitat loss
of prairies, and then prairies, depend on fire and other management things, and so that's a part of it too. So it's I think the story of echinacea is more of like a landscape story and changes that have happened to the landscape. But that's something that I think is really beautiful about United Plant Savers, is that we've put a lot of work into establishing this prairie, and we burn the prairie. We try and burn it every year, or at least every other year if the conditions are right. And it's really, it's, I do think that there's like more awareness. People are looking at how to manage their fields for diversity and pollinators, so a lot of restoration work is sort of coming into the forefront of, reestablishing prairies. But when we lost like the bison of the east, and when we lost some of these bigger species, we lost kind of that whole mechanism of prairies. And so I guess echinacea is kind of like the voice of the prairie.
I love it.
Yeah, and so many other great medicinals, right? I mean, it's not just the forest botanicals, and so yeah, that's where I feel like the plants are so powerful, because they speak to us in all these different capacities. Like maybe then you want to know more about echinacea, and then you just kind of go down like the rabbit hole, right? But I do think echinacea, I do think so much awareness was brought around echinacea, and I do think that, and then we realized that we didn't need to necessarily have angustifolia, which is what you would find being harvested wild from the prairie, that we could grow Echinacea purpurea and these other species that are maybe a little easier to cultivate, but are still just as potent medicinally.
Yeah, my friend Christophe Bernard, he recommended growing Polita, so that's what I'm growing right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, it's just so dainty, and we have that growing at the UPS sanctuary as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Susan, thank you so much for all of your incredible work at United Plant Savers. Thanks to United Plant Savers as a whole organization. Thanks to everyone listening who is going to become a member.
Yeah.
Thanks to people who are already members. Before I let you go, I would like to ask you one last question, and that is, how do herbs instill hope in you?
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, plants are just such teachers, and they're just so resilient. And I see them as like our ancestors. They're such a long lineage, and they're so incredibly adaptive and intelligent that I mean, so I in regards to I feel like plants are practically the solution to everything. So I think as soon as it's us, right? Like it's almost like they're the parent that are like, oh, they'll learn one day.
We just need to listen.
The prodigal child or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think the quicker people bring awareness to the plants in their lives, that they just find more joy and happiness. Whether that's walking out in the forest and shifting your mood, or I think when we get our hands in the earth, we just, anytime that I feel just completely overwhelmed or really sad, all I have to do is like force myself to just get outside, and then it's like, oh yeah, plants got this, So I see them as very helpful, very hopeful, and I just, plants, not politics. Vote for plants. Lots of puns there, but so I do think, I think it's like the little bit we give, they give back tenfold. So I think I'm really grateful to be anchored in the work of working with plants, and of course I have my moments and my days, but I feel, extremely hopeful. There's nothing better than being able to plant a seed and watch it germinate. I mean, or especially to be in a greenhouse when there's like just thousands of babies, like that energy, it's just like, it's totally intoxicating. So I love what you do, and I love how you turn people onto plants. I'm super grateful for you, and thanks for having me and helping to kind of spread the word, and for making your students members of UPS. And so yeah, it's just, I think plants are here for us. So I feel hopeful. And they're so resilient. They just like get battered, and then they just come back. I don't know. Lot to learn from that.
Yeah, there is a lot. And yeah, thanks again for being here. Thanks for sharing all of this. I think this is, as people who love plants, as herbalists who rely on the plants as food and as medicine, and that connection to nature, it's just so important to have organizations and like UPS and people like you, Susan, who are out there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much again for all you do, and thank you for being here.
All right, you're welcome.
Thanks for being here. Don't forget to head over to the show notes at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com to download your at-risk plants list, and you can get a transcript of this show. There you'll also be able to sign up for my weekly newsletter, which is the best way to stay in touch with me. To become a member of United Plant Savers, something I highly recommend, please visit unitedplantsavers.org. If you want more herbal episodes to come your way, then one of the best ways to support this podcast is by subscribing on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. I deeply believe that this world needs more herbalists and plant-centered folks, and I'm so glad that you're here as part of this herbal community. Also, a big round of thanks to the people all over the world who make this podcast happen week to week. Nicole Paul is the project manager who oversees the whole operation, from guest outreach to writing show notes to actually uploading each episode, and so many other things I don't even know. She really holds this whole thing together. Francesca is our fabulous video and audio editor. She not only makes listening more pleasant, she also adds beauty to the YouTube videos with plant images and video overlays. Tatiana Rusikova is the botanical illustrator who creates gorgeous plant and recipe illustrations for us. I love them. I know that you do too. Christy edits the recipe cards, and then Jenny creates them as well as the thumbnail images for YouTube. Michelle is the tech wizard behind the scenes, and Karen is our student services coordinator and customer support. For those of you who like to read along, Jennifer is who creates the transcripts each week. Xavier, my handsome French husband, is the cameraman and website IT guy. It takes an herbal village to make it all happen, including you. One of my favorite things about this podcast is hearing from you. I read every comment that comes in, and I'm excited to hear your herbal thoughts on UPS and at-risk plants. Okay, you've done it. You've lasted to the very end of the show. Thank you. This also means you get a gold star and this herbal tidbit. Well, the United Plant Savers is truly an amazing organization, and I hope you'll consider becoming a member. I found a fantastic article on the UPS website written by Anne Armbrecht on the founding of United Plant Savers. She interviews Rosemary Gladstar for the article, and I wanted to share a few excerpts and quotes from the article. Here we go. In bringing attention to the health of particular plants, UPS highlights the fact that plants aren't just here for humans. Rosemary said, "We talked about the need to preserve the plants for the plants' sake, because other species of plants needed them. Other insects and animals needed them." Continuing on, Rosemary says, "And so I think that what's happened in the herbal community is that it's matured and is now considering what can we give back. And our first calling was to give to the plants directly." Again, you can find out more and become a member at unitedplantsavers.org.